the night everything changed. The city lights sparkled like scattered diamonds across the darkening skyline as Maria Rodriguez pushed her cleaning cart down the empty hallway of the Morrison Tower. Her yellow rubber gloves squeaked slightly against the handle. The 40th floor was always her last stop, and tonight she was running later than usual. Maria had worked as a cleaning lady for Thompson Services for 3 years now. Every evening, she arrived at 6 o'clock sharp, cleaned offices until midnight, and went home to her small apartment where her daughter Sophia waited. The work was hard, but Maria never complained. She needed this job. Sophia's college tuition depended on it. Tonight felt different somehow. The air seemed heavier. The usual hum of the building's ventilation system sounded lonelier than normal. Maria wheeled her cart past the reception desk and toward the executive offices, her white shoes making soft sounds against the polished marble floor. She had received the news that morning. Her supervisor had called her into the office before her shift. Thompson Services was letting her go. Would hit cuts, they said. Last hired, first fired. She had 2 weeks left. Maria hadn't told Sophia yet. She didn't know how. As Maria approached the corner office, the CEO's suite, she noticed something unusual. A thin strip of light glowed beneath the heavy wooden door. That was strange. Everyone should have gone home hours ago. She hesitated, her hand hovering over the door handle. Maybe she should come back later. Then she heard it. A sound that made her freeze in place. Someone was crying. Maria stood perfectly still, listening. The sound came again, muffled but unmistakable. Deep, broken sobs from inside the office. Her first instinct was to walk away, to give whoever it was their privacy. But something in those sounds pulled at her heart. She knew that kind of crying. It was the crying of someone who had reached their absolute limit. Slowly, carefully, Maria knocked on the door. The crying stopped immediately. Silence stretched out for several long seconds. Hello? Maria called softly. Is someone in there? Are you okay? More silence. Then a voice, rough and strained. Go away. Maria bit her lip. She should listen. She should respect the person's wishes and continue with her work. But she had never been good at walking away from someone in pain. I'm Maria, she said through the door. I'm the cleaning lady. I just want to make sure you're alright. Anotarlo en pause. Then, I'm fine. Please leave. The voice didn't sound fine at all. Maria took a deep breath and made a decision. She turned the handle and pushed the door open slowly. The massive corner office was mostly dark, lit only by the glow of the city lights streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. And there, sitting on the floor with his back against the window, was a man. He was dressed in expensive clothes, a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up, dark pants, and a watch that probably cost more than Maria made in a year. His face was in his hands. When he looked up, Maria recognized him immediately. James Mitchell. The CEO. The man whose face was on the company website, always smiling confidently in his perfectly tailored suits. Except now his eyes were red and swollen, his carefully styled hair falling across his forehead, and his expression was one of absolute devastation. I said go away, he repeated, but there was no anger in his voice. Only exhaustion. Maria should have left. This was her boss's boss's boss. This was the man who owned the building. But she saw something in his face that reminded her of herself, sitting in her kitchen at 3 a.m, crying over bills she couldn't pay. I'll go, she said gently. But first, when was the last time you ate something? James blinked at her, seemingly confused by the question. What? Food, Maria said. When did you last eat? He stared at her for a moment, then looked away. I don't remember. Yesterday, maybe. Maria nodded slowly. She stepped into the office and let the door close behind her. From her cart, she retrieved her lunch bag. She always packed extra. Walking across the expansive office, she sat down on the floor beside him, keeping a respectful distance. She pulled out a wrapped sandwich and a bottle of water. "Here," she said, setting them between them. "It's just turkey and cheese, but it's something." James looked at the sandwich, then at Maria, his expression unreadable. "Why are you doing this?" Maria smiled sadly. "Because sometimes we all need someone to sit with us in the dark." For a long moment, he didn't move. Then, slowly, he reached for the water bottle and took a long drink. He picked up the sandwich and took a small bite. They sat in silence for a while, the city lights twinkling behind them. Finally, James spoke. "I fired 50 people today," he said quietly. "I had to let them go. Bullshit cats. So many of them had been with the company for years. So many of them have families." He paused, his voice breaking. "I just signed the papers. I didn't even have to tell them myself. I just signed papers, and their lives changed." Maria listened, her heart aching. She understood now. She was one of those 50 people, though she hadn't lost her job directly from him. The cuts had rippled through every company in the building. "My father built this company," James continued. "He died 6 months ago and left it to me. I'm supposed to keep it running, keep it profitable. But every decision I make seems to hurt someone. He thought I could do this. He thought I was strong enough. But tonight, sitting here in his office, I just broke." Maria reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, worn photograph. It showed her daughter Sophia in her high school graduation gown, smiling proudly. "This is my daughter," Maria said. "She's in college now. Studying to be a nurse. She's going to help people." She looked at the photograph with such love that it seemed to glow in the dim light. "I was laid off today too. Bullshit cats. You don't know how I'm going to pay her tuition next semester." James turned to look at her, really look at her, for the first time. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I know you are," Maria said simply. "That's why you're sitting here in the dark, crying. Because you care. That matters. Does it?" James asked bitterly. "Does it matter that I care when people are still losing their jobs?" Maria thought about this carefully. "My mother used to say that the world breaks everyone sometimes. What matters is how we put ourselves back together afterward. And whether we help others do the same." They sat together in silence again, but this time it felt different. Less lonely somehow. Finally, James stood up. He reached down and helped Maria to her feet. "What's your daughter's name?" "Sofia Rodriguez." James walked to his desk and wrote something down on a piece of paper. "I can't undo the layoffs," he said quietly. "The company really is in trouble. But I can do something." He handed her the paper. "This is my personal number. Call me tomorrow. I have a friend who runs a hospital. They're always looking for good people. And they have a scholarship program for employees, children studying medicine." Maria stared at the paper, tears filling her eyes. "Why would you do this for me?" James smiled, a real smile this time, small but genuine. "Because sometimes we all need someone to sit with us in the dark. You showed me that tonight. Let me try to return the favor." Maria left the office 20 minutes later, her heart feeling lighter than it had in months. Being here, the corner office lights finally turned off. But somehow, neither of them felt like they were in the dark anymore.